Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lit Up Lightworker podcast, bringing you fun and soulful interviews with spiritual teachers with the aim of tuning you in and lighting you up. You can access all episodes of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos and interviews all about finding and following your life purpose. My name is George Lizos. I'm a spiritual teacher, intuitive, the author of Be the Guru and the #1 best-selling Lightworkers Gotta Work. And today I have with me Kaitlyn Kaerhart. Kaitlyn Kaerhart is a New York-based numerologist and musician. She first studied numerology with an esteemed Indian mystic before spending the following years studying with shamans and healers to help her understand the full power of numbers in our lives, including numerology's relationship with astrology, tarot, and healing practices. She has also studied sound healing, reiki, crystals, and meditation. Her mission is to make numerology as accessible and as easy to understand as astrology. Her first and much anticipated book, You Are Cosmic Code: Essential Numerology, has just been released through Penguin Randomhouse. She has also collaborated with the esteemed tarot artist Serpentfire on the upcoming astrology numerology-based tarot deck, Celestial Bodies. Kaitlyn, welcome to the Lit Up Lightworker podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you here to chat about a topic that has been coming up a lot in my life over the past couple of years, and yet I haven't covered it yet on the podcast. So I'm so excited that I get to do this with you. I love reading your book and how simple you keep things. You help people understand numbers in a much uncomplicated way so they can use them instantly to create change in their lives. But before we get into the juicy part of astrology, I want to hear about your journey. What has been your journey to doing this work in the first place?
Well, many years ago, gonna try and keep this short, but I had a sort of spiritual awakening. I was going through a really, really hard time in my life. It was one of those times when you feel like everything happens at once. Like I experienced the death in the family and some stuff happened in my career. And I became a very negative, very depressed person. And at the time, I didn't believe in spirituality at all. I mean, I was like completely atheist. I was like, all of that is baloney. Like, we just can't even accept that we're just here and then we die and that's it. Like I had no sense of spirituality. But again, I was in such a dark place and I was trying everything to get myself out of that dark place and to not be a negative person. And I was in therapy and I was trying exercise and hypnotherapy, like everything I knew how to do. And one of my friends actually was like, you should try Reiki. I've been doing it lately and it's like really changed my life. And for those of you who don't know, Reiki is energy healing. And when she was telling me about it, I was like, this is nuts. Like, no way. But I was so desperate to just change my life that I thought, okay, I've never tried anything like this. Let me try. So I found a Reiki healer in New York. I went to go see her and literally right then and there, working with her, I had a profound spiritual awakening. Like it was like I had a vision of a past life. Like I saw my grandparents who had passed, like very, very intense experience. And I mean, I was terrified because I thought I was going crazy. But then, I spent the next year studying with her weekly and just kind of opening to spirituality. And, that led me to studying all these different types of healing modalities. And, astrology never resonated with me. Like most things didn't like help me to understand deeper, like the path that I was on and how I could understand that. And then I found numerology. It came to me in a dream one night and I just kept hearing like, follow the numbers. And I'm like, what the hell? Like numerology, what is that? And I woke up and I found this numerologist in LA who was really gifted and she gave me a reading and my life was just forever changed. Like it totally resonated. It was like, finally someone was reading the book on me. It was so profound. And I just became so obsessed with numbers, and it became my passion and my hobby. And then, you know, after years of working with them and doing people's charts just for fun, people started finding me, being like, can I pay you to tell me what day I should have my baby? I'm scheduling a C-section. And yeah, so then I started working professionally as a numerologist, which then led to the book.
Oh my God, what an exciting path. I love how the universe, when we are ready to change, the universe just shows up and just sends us all these
Right?
signs. And then we can keep ignoring them, but they will get bigger and bigger and bigger until we're left with no other choice other than to take action. And I've had such a profound experience with numerology as well. For the first time this year, actually, a few months ago, I also did a reading with someone who's both an astrologer, a psychic, and numerologist. And I was just like, I was flabbergasted with the accuracy of numerology. So what is numerology for those people who don't know what it is?
So numerology is an ancient branch of esoteric wisdom that's similar to astrology, only instead of looking to the stars and the cosmos to tell us who we are, numerology examines numbers and our relationships with numbers. It's the easiest way to put it. Yeah.
Yes, so easy. Now, usually when I talk with people about numerology, and actually when I was learning about it, like earlier in life, I found myself wondering, okay, yes, I know that numbers are important. I think Pythagoras and all the like ancient mathematicians talked about astrology and like numerology and the power of numbers. But how exactly does it work? How are numbers and our date of birth connected, and numbers and our name connected as well, because we can use both to gain access into our own personality?
Well, there are a few things. One, I want to point out that numbers are the universal language. I just think that it's so fascinating that how many different countries exist in the world, how many different languages, and yet we're all using the same number system.
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating? And numerology has actually existed for as long as numbers have existed. You know, there was, you know, in China, in Japan, in ancient Sumeria, in Greece, they were all studying numbers further than just math. They were looking at numbers as a way to understand ourselves, right? So how it works is numerology operates on single digit numbers 1 through 9. And that's because that's the purest form of the energy. And then there are a few master numbers, 11, 22, and 33. When we add up the numbers in your birthday and also in your name, that tells us things like your purpose in life, your struggles, your strengths, your weaknesses, what you're here to do, what you're here to contribute to society, like the energy you're in right now, where you're heading, like your own patterns. And you know, numerology does believe in reincarnation and that we live many lives, and that when we come here, we actually choose our path. We choose like, okay, well, I've mastered these lessons in a past life, so now I'm going to be a life path 9, or you know, you can choose to be a master number if you're feeling really courageous this lifetime. But I will also say that numerology believes that everything is an energy form in and of itself, vibrating at a specific frequency. So when you do add up the numbers in your birthday, for example, your life path 8, that's actually your energetic resonance. That's the message that you're sending out into the world. So, you know, every number is vibrating on a specific wavelength. It's all frequencies, right? And that might sound a bit woo-woo, but when you think about it, you know, even music is a frequency.
Yeah.
You know, when you're listening to your favorite song, it's resonating at a specific frequency, and that's penetrating your heart space. And that's what makes you light up when you hear, oh my God, I love that ABBA song, or whatever it is, right? So, yeah.
And I'm always fascinated how all these modalities that we consider to be new age are actually very old age, because they've been used by the masters like over time for so many thousand years, and we're just rediscovering that ancient wisdom. And it's interesting you mentioned about 8, like your life path number is your frequency, because I found it also kind of correlates with astrology, because astrologically I'm a Leo. And I guess Leos and number 8s, like there is a correlation there. Like, I don't know, it's just me. Is there?
No, actually, so I also have studied astrology, and I do both. You know, numerology is really my jam, but I also do astrology readings. And I really do believe there is a profound relationship between the two. And I've noticed that I don't know if you've ever looked into human design, but like
Yes.
human design, numerology, astrology, a lot of the times they're saying the exact same thing, but in a different way. And that's what I
Yeah.
love. It's just like what resonates, right? And what I love about numerology specifically is that numbers are very straightforward. It's very like, here is what this number is and what it means, and you can choose to tap into the light or shadow side. Where
Yes.
other healing modalities, I don't know if you've found this, but sometimes they feel conflicting, even with astrology. And I do love astrology, okay? I look at my chart all the time. I do read charts for people, but sometimes there'll be a transit that's like, things are going to be wonderful in your life, like new love is coming. And then there's another transit that's like, get ready, it's going to be a rough time. And it's like having these two conflicting things, where I love with numerology, it's simple. And also, as we were talking about before we even started recording this, you know, the universe is always sending messages to us through numbers. Like, you see repeating numbers all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are these constant messages coming to us. And it's like, the more that you understand numbers and what they mean in numerology, the more it's like this other world opens up. It's like you speak another language.
So exciting. I love that you found this correlation as well between the different personality systems and how they're all connected. And the way I see it is that they reveal different layers of ourselves, essentially, because I haven't studied human design specifically, but I'm into the Enneagram a lot. I don't know if you know about the Enneagram personality system. So I'm a type 1, the perfectionist, the reformer, which again, it's a position of leadership, which relates to the 8, which relates to the Leo. Yes. And I'm like,
yes. No, it's interesting too, because since I put out my book, you know, I was a little closeted when it came to being a numerologist before. I was scared to put myself out there because I didn't want to be viewed as like too woo-woo. But you know, it's so fascinating now that the book's out, and I've been putting so much numerology content out there on my Instagram that people are finding me and be like, I have to tell you this story. And the synchronicities that line up, not just with the numbers, which I have some wild stories I could tell you, but also people are like, wow, like I keep noticing this pattern that everyone I know who's a life path 1 is also a manifester.
Yes.
Like everyone I know who's an 8 is a Leo. I found that so many times, and there's so many similarities between the two.
It just adds up to the validity of the whole systems and how the universe works and how we get to understand ourselves via different ways. Now,
yes, and that's the thing that I always want to tell people, is that these are tools for us to understand ourselves. Like, first and foremost, like that's what's so beautiful about astrology and numerology. And some people I find are hesitant to even open their minds to it because they're like, oh, nothing's going to tell me my future. And you're right. Like, nothing's going to tell you your future because you have free will and you make your own destiny. But when you have astrology, numerology, especially as a tool belt or a tool in your tool belt, it's like life can come into this beautiful flow.
Yes, because they bring you so many energy readings and information about yourself so you can understand yourself and therefore take action towards creating your future. And of course, with numerology, there are all these different numbers that we can identify, and each and every single person has one of those numbers that can give us access into our personality. So I was wondering if we can go over those different numbers and just introduce a definition of it and how we can use it to understand ourselves better. And the first one is the life path number, which is the most popular one. So what is the life path number?
Okay, so the life path number is your most important number. It's like who you are. It's your sacred calling. It's what you came here to do, right? It's like, this is your core number. The two core numbers are your life destiny, which is based off your birth name, and your life path. And these two numbers together really make up like the meat of who you are, really. So the life path number, again, is what you're here to do, who you are. And would you like me to just go through what each one is really quickly? Like the
let's say the names. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the 1 is the independent leader and the innovator. So think Steve Jobs, Martin Luther King, Nikola Tesla, Lady Gaga. They're really here to create movements. The 2 is the peacekeeper. It's really here to find balance. I always think of it as Libra energy. So it's like always trying to find balance and always trying to find stability in situations and to sort of like offer that to the world. Also, partnership is very important to 2s. So notable 2s are Tony Robbins, Barack Obama, Eckhart Tolle, and then there are 3s, and these are the communicators, and their whole mission is to express themselves and to inspire others to do the same. And they're also nicknamed the sunshine number. A lot of actors, musicians are 3s. So, David Bowie, Katy Perry, Ed Sheeran, Christina Aguilera. It's a big artist number. Very creative, very creative. Then we have the 4s, and these are the builders of society. They're really here to implement structure and be very methodical. And this is the work number. Like if you're a 4, this is like work, 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 work. But it's also the number of breakthroughs. So you're going to be working and hitting walls, but then bam, breakthroughs come and you kind of transcend. And the life path 4s, notable ones, Oprah, Bill Gates, Shonda Rhimes, Quentin Tarantino. So it's a very successful number typically. Then we have life path 5s, and these are the really fun numbers. I love life path 5s. These are the freedom seekers, the free spirit, the travelers. It's the nomads number. It's really about testing your relationship with freedom and learning to be adaptable. So Russell Brand is a 5, Angelina Jolie. It's a big nut. It's also the number of change in the senses. Then we have life path 6, which is the nurturer. They're really here to find a balance between having a really loving home life and a stable, successful career. So John Lennon, Jessica Alba, Victoria Beckham, very, very nurturing, very loving. Then we have life path 7s, and these are the seekers, the philosophers. They're here to really commit themselves to just one singular focus and to really gather knowledge and to give that back to humanity. This is the most spiritual number, but in a grounded way. So Bruce Lee is a notable 7. I love to think about him. Leonardo DiCaprio is a 7. Then there are the 8s, the powerhouse. This is literally like that huge, big energy that like moves mountains, very ambitious, very leadership. It really acts as the bridge between the material and the spiritual realm, because 8 is the only number that has to do with money and material possessions. So Jane Fonda, Stevie Nicks, Elizabeth Taylor, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, all big 8 energy. Then we have 9, and this is the humanitarian. They're here to make the world a kinder, more gentle place, and to really devote themselves to a cause and to learn to really love humanity and to give back. And great notable life path 9s are Gandhi, Priyanka Chopra is also a 9. Mother Teresa was a 9. Yeah, then we have the master numbers, 11, 22, and 33. And master numbers are just a more powerful version of the number that they add up to. So it's like the 11, for example, is a more intense version of the 2. But the 11 is known as the psychic. So they're here to be a spiritual thought leader. The 22 is known as the most powerful number in numerology. And they're the master builders and master architects. So think about them as like a very intense version of the 4. Yeah. And Paul McCartney, Richard Branson, Tina Fey, they're all 22s. And then we have 33s, and they're very, very rare. And actually our friend who put us in touch is a 33, Emma. And these are the visionaries, the enlightened nurturers. Again, like it's like a really intense version of the 6, and they're here to master unconditional love. I know that's like probably the hardest thing to do as a human, but that's what they're here to do. And, notable life path 33, Steve Irwin, that animal guy. Those are all the numbers, the life path in a nutshell. I know it's a lot to take in. So there's that. There's the life destiny numbers, which really speaks to how you go about achieving your life path. Then we have balance numbers, which speak to how you overcome conflict. We have our karmic lessons, what we're here to learn, our karmic debts. We have our personal year cycle, which tells us what energy is available at the time every year to us, and how we can like chart our patterns and like what we should be focusing on. We have our personality numbers. We have our soul urge numbers. Our soul urge speaks to what our deepest desires are, our motivation. So there are so many numbers, and I don't want to overwhelm everyone.
Yeah, I love how deep you can go with it, because for a long period of time, I thought numerology was just about finding your life path number. And then I realized, you know what, it's way deeper than that. There are cycles you go through. There is compatibility. There are so many things you can do with numerology. And of course, everybody watching or listening this, you can get Kaitlyn's book, Your Cosmic Code, and she explains everything about all the different personality types, all the different numbers, and how to calculate all of those numbers: a life path number, life destiny, karmic lesson, balance number, personal year cycles. Now, I have a question that many people who are not who don't have an English name or like a Latin name. That may have, which is, for example, me. I'm Greek, so my name, rather than George, like my Greek name is Yorgos or Georgios. Now, how do I go about finding my, let's say, for example, my life destiny number using my name? Do I use my English name? Do I use my Greek name? Do I use a Greek name that people call me, or the Greek name that's written on my birth certificate? So how do we address these questions?
So the general rule of thumb is to always use your full legal birth name, the name that was given to you at birth that is on your birth certificate. And, you know, numerology, the one that I have studied and am familiar with is the Pythagorean version. But, you know, almost all societies have a system where the alphabet equates to a number.
Yes.
So if your number on your or if your name on your birth certificate is in Greek, then we could add up your life destiny in that way. You can also, if you feel called, do the English version as well. You know, I just did this with someone actually recently, and they liked knowing both versions of the number, and they felt it told the story. But the most important thing is just that you're doing your full legal birth name.
Okay.
And again, you can choose the language, but it has to be that. It can't be like the married name. It can't be a nickname. You can, though, I will say, you can calculate out your nicknames, and then you'll see like what energy you're projecting to people and what you're calling in. So, for example, my teacher told me that, so I'm a double one. I'm a life path one, life destiny one. And she told me, if you want success, your name has to be a 3. You have to use a 3 name. And for years I thought, okay, lady, like I believe in numerology, but this is a little much. But recently I started using Kaitlyn Kaerhart, because without my middle name, it's a 3. And so much more has been coming to me. And actually, this is very popular in India. Numerology is very popular there, and people change their names all the time to have better luck. And it works. Yeah. And it really does sound crazy, but try it. So like, you know, if you want to try inviting more money into your life, you're already a life path 8. But, you know, let's say you want your name to be an 8, then you could calculate that out. Or how you present yourself to the world. Like if your Instagram handle is a 6, that's the nurturer, people are going to find you and think, oh, he's a nurturing guy. You know what I mean? So these things actually like do have an impact. And as silly as it may sound to people who aren't used to numerology, what I say is just try it out and see, like try signing things with a different name and see like if something changes, right?
That is so interesting for me, because my actual surname is not Lizos. Many people don't know this, but I have a very Greek long surname that I changed so I could do my work internationally and have people be able to pronounce my surname. So my actual surname is Babagiriagu, which is too long. And I don't resonate with it. I changed it. Back when I wanted to become an international singer and actor, I was like, what do I use to like have an international career? Let's start combining stuff together. And I ended up with Lizos, which means nothing literally, but it made sense with George in many different languages. That's my 16-year-old self talking right now. So you got me thinking right now, like, maybe I did that on purpose.
Know. Yeah, I want to know what that number is. And you know what's really interesting actually that people don't know is that you know, in the golden age of Hollywood, you know how many stars actually change their names? They would consult with numerologists. So numerologists would work with the studio systems
Yeah.
to try and determine what would bring the best luck for actors and
Wow.
actresses. So like the Marilyn Monroes and the, I'm blanking, like Cary Grant. I'm not sure if that's, I think that was a changed name, but they would consult with numerologists to make sure that like their stars were going to be successful, right? They would bring in money. So lots of them had 1s and 8s as their names.
Oh my God,
So isn't that,
I'm gonna check it out to find out what George Lizos
mm,
comes up to.
yeah, no, I actually, a lot of my work is in helping people to find names for their businesses
Yeah.
and stage names.
Oh,
Because
which is essentially what I did. Yeah.
exactly. So you were already so on that path. I would really love to know what George Lizos actually is, because then that's going to say what you're actually projecting to the world and how people are interpreting you.
Versus what I was given at birth and how that compares
Yes.
to it.
Ooh, and if
How
they're really
exciting.
different, because
Yeah.
that's what's interesting is that I remember I chose a stage name and it took so long to do it. This is many years ago because I'm also a musician, and
Yeah.
it was the same as my life path. So I was like, okay, I'm a 1 life destiny, 1 life path, and then my stage name is a 1. Like
As
what?
well.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how we do this sometimes intuitively, and yet it's all orchestrated into the numbers as well.
Yeah.
Okay, now, is there compatibility with numbers in the same way that, let's say, for example, I'm dating a Scorpio. Ooh, do Leos and Scorpios, like, are they compatible? Can we do the same thing with numerology?
You know what's funny is that Leos and Scorpios are actually square if you're
No.
just looking at the
Yeah.
sun. But I know so many incredible couples that are Leo Scorpios and they make it work.
I
But
can't deal with Scorpios. I don't know why, but I've never met a
they're
Scorpio that I got along with.
that, you know what's funny? I have a couple of those in my life too, those signs. I'm not going to name names here, but
Yeah.
Scorpios I have a special fondness for, and I think it's because I was raised by a Scorpio.
Yes.
So like the things people can't stand about them are just like normal to me. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's just a Scorpio, right? But I love their depth. But yes, there is compatibility in numbers. But here's what I'll say, and I'll say this about astrology too, because this is what I genuinely believe about compatibility. Anyone can be with anyone. It's just, how hard do you want your life? That's the thing. It's like, because here's the thing. Like, if you have completely different life philosophies, it's hard to make that work, right? Like you said, you don't really love Scorpios, and you've probably met many and determined that because you're just like, we just operate in such a different way, right? And with the numbers, what I love about numerology actually is that there are a lot of couples that I have counseled, and when you learn to play to each number's strength, then you can really be with any number, because every number has something to teach us, every single number. You know, before I wrote my book, I was a bit biased. There were certain numbers that I didn't love because I had some really bad experiences with specific numbers. It's like every time I meet this number, it's a bad vibe for me. But after writing my book and it kind of gave me a new perspective of, well, I used to have a problem with 4s because they're very rigid, they're very structured, they're very like, follow the rules. The rules are there to be followed. I'm a 1. We're like, fuck rules. I don't want to follow any rules. I'm here to innovate this space. And so it was hard to find that common ground. But when I realized, like, wait, the 4 is so structured and I don't know how to be that structured. And then I started to like learn more and appreciate like that gift. You know, I find that a lot of people struggle with compatibility when they're trying to make someone something that they're not.
Yes.
You know, like if I was to expect a 4 to be free flowing, I'm like, why can't you be free flowing like me? That's not their strength. Their gift is that they're not free flowing, that they're structured, but society needs that. So it's like, when you appreciate that each number has a gift that we can all learn from, and we have a gift and we can play to each other's strengths, then anybody can be with anybody.
I love that. So it's all about learning to appreciate difference in human beings and coming at it with a perspective of what can I learn from this relationship? What is the assignment here? How can I move forward and how can I
Yes.
grow as a result?
Yes, and I don't know if you've done this already. This is like what everyone does once they drink the Kool-Aid of numerology. But when you understand your life path, you want to understand everyone's life path around you. And what's so interesting is that you'll start to notice there are specific times in your life that you only attract one number. So
Yes.
when I was a kid and when I was in high school, I only attracted fives, and that's because back then I really needed to learn the lessons of how to be adaptable. And then when I was at uni and I had my spiritual awakening, I only attracted 11s. And that's because suddenly I was gobbling up all this like spiritual content, and I needed like the psychic people around me to like hold that space. And now I mainly attract 22s. And that's because like I'm sitting here building my empire and I need structure. I need to understand that. And again, it kind of goes to relationship compatibility, but it really does speak to like numbers will come into your life to teach you things at specific times. And you'll notice these interesting patterns of I'm only surrounded by one number. And when that happens, you got to think like, what is it that they have that I need to still learn? Like you're an 8, so you understand money and material better than any other number, just your baseline, right? So it's like, if I want to learn more about like the material world and the magic of that, then I need to surround myself with more 8s.
I realized the same thing, not with numbers specifically because I haven't looked into it, but with the Enneagram, which are like numbers from 1 to 9 and the different types.
Yeah.
I've noticed that I keep attracting a lot of 7s, which are the enthusiasts, which are the healing aspect of the healing direction that 1s need to go towards, because 1s are very structured, they're very focused. 7s, like the enthusiasts, are all very like spontaneous and fun-loving. So again, I realized I keep attracting them because there's something for me to learn there. I need to become less rigid and allow myself to have fun and play, be more spontaneous. So I guess it's the same thing with numbers. We attract the numbers that we need most to grow. Are there numbers that can take us backwards? Like that can help us like ungrow or hold us back from growing?
I mean, I think like, every number has a light and a shadow side to it.
Yeah.
So let's say, okay, so like the 5's shadow side is it could be a bit hedonistic. So it might have some issues with overindulgence with food or TV or drugs or alcohol. And if you're someone who struggles with alcohol and then you're hanging out with a bunch of 5s who are tapped into the shadow side, then like that might bring up some things. But I honestly believe that like every single experience we have is here to teach us something, and that we'll never go back, right? And if we're dipping into like an old behavior that's not healthy for us, it's because there's more to learn and more to integrate that we haven't fully grasped yet.
Oh my goodness, I love this. Thank you so much, Kaitlyn, for coming onto the podcast and sharing all this information with us. I can't wait for everyone to go and check out Kaitlyn's book, You Are Cosmic Code, Essential Numerology, which is available now globally on Amazon. Can you please let us know where can people get in touch and work with you?
Well, the best place to get in touch with me is on my Instagram. I'm very active on there. So at Kaerhart. So it's at then Kaerhart. And then if you want to work with me, you can send an email to numerology@kaerhart.com. I do readings. And yeah, I'm rebuilding my website right now. So I'm really excited. And I'm actually going to have a life path calculator on there, which I'm very excited about. That way, because people ask me all the time, like, what's my life path number? Or they'll go on my Instagram and they'll see the formula I put on there, but they're still confused. So now I'm going to have a calculator where you can go on and it's going to tell you your number. So that'll be really exciting too.
So excited for everything to come out. And of course, all these links will be available in the show notes so everybody can go and access them, including the link to the book as well. Kaitlyn, thank you so much for joining me. I've had such a pleasure chatting about numerology, and I can't wait to go and find out all my numbers right now.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's so amazing being on here and just the fact that people are interested in numerology at all.
I know, right?
I didn't think people cared. And like when Penguin Randomhouse asked me to write the book, I was like, do you think people are going to care about numerology? So it's great to see the interest in it.
Yeah,
so
I think
thank
it's
you
the
so
thing
much.
right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Wishing you a lovely rest of your day.
You too.